Hello, fellow patriots. Gene Valentino here. As we approach our 250th anniversary, let's celebrate the spirit that made this nation the greatest country on earth. I'm so proud to offer you our limited edition 1776 to 2026 commemorative hats, a bold reminder of freedom, faith, and the American dream. Whether you're at a rally or on a golf course or just showing your pride every day, this hat says it all. Grab yours today at genevalentino.com and let freedom ring.
Welcome, friends. Welcome, listeners, to Business Today with James Thomason. We're in the studio today, and I have my wingman, also employee, working with us at our accounting practice is Byron Stokes.
Yeah, that's right. Kicking butt and taking names.
How's it going, Byron?
Going great. I'm feeling good this week. I love summertime. Summer is never a bummer.
Yeah.
We get out. I get to stay busy. I'm always busy anyway, but I get to be busy outdoors doing the stuff I love.
Now, did you have summers like this in Kansas?
Yes. Well, we did. So it gets hot and humid up there. However, when the sun goes down, you get a little bit of a break.
Right.
Down here, it's
not so much.
24 hours a day.
Right.
Humid.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
I prefer the heat.
Yeah. I've gotten used to it.
Yeah. I don't know that I want to put on a jacket or a sweater in the evening or whatever the case may be. I want to be able to wear my shorts and T-shirt all the time.
Right. They can keep all that.
For you listeners who may not know, I'm James Thomason. I own Accelerated Accounting. I guess I'm the president of Accelerated Accounting now since we've grown to the point where we are now. Byron Stokes, he works with us in the Pensacola office. We have 4 locations. We have taken on this radio show and really enjoy what we do. We get to come here on a weekly basis.
Yeah, we do. And, we do enjoy it because we're passionate about what we do. We're entrepreneurs, talking to other entrepreneurs about it. It's an experience, and there's a lot to it. And it's fun to be able to do that and to share those experiences and learn from other people that we get to meet.
And we hope that our listeners get something out of it from the standpoint of how to be a more successful, not only business owner, but a more successful individual, because there's a lot of things that we talk about from time to time that isn't just business related, but we do talk about going from being a small business owner to a success-minded business owner. But I'm so excited about our show today. It's going to be an amazing show.
That is an important differentiation. Real quick, the text line, if you want to text in to us, get a hold of us, 850-610-0626, 610-0626. Let us know your thoughts. Somebody, maybe you want to be on the show. Maybe you'd be a great guest. Maybe there's something you want to hear about. We'd love to hear from you.
Or maybe you know someone who would be a great guest for us.
That's right.
Absolutely. But our guest today, most of you may know him, and I've been able to get to know him through our pre-show interview, and it's been really, really a great experience getting to know him. And his name is Gene Valentino, and most of you guys may know him from County Commission days. And so welcome to our show, Gene.
Glad to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Like I say, I'm so excited because and don't take this wrong, but feel a little bit inferior. This guy has done so many great things, and so I'm excited to talk to him and learn from him myself. I've been a business owner for 39 years. I've owned Accelerated Accounting, and we do tax returns and bookkeeping, tax planning, and things of that nature. But Gene has such a history that when I did my research, I was just really amazed at some of the things that he has done in the past, what he's doing now, how some of my paths with him could have crossed a long time ago, because he's a dive master. I'm a diver. I'm a licensed certified diver. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that.
He's a pilot. I was in pilot training when I had my communications company, and that brings me to he was president of Cellular One in California. Is that right, Gene?
Yeah, Cellular One, Central California.
Yeah, that was back in the late 80s, right?
Late 80s, right up to 1996.
Yeah, our listeners may not know that I owned a communications company in the late 80s, actually the early 90s. So we started out with paging, became a great paging, because my business, the business I started 39 years ago, was very seasonal, and it's like, okay, we're starving to death, so I need to do something. I'm an entrepreneur, so I started a communications company, TBS Communications in Mobile. We grew that thing to $4 million before I sold it. But Gene, you had Cellular One, and we had a Cellular One contract at one time.
Yeah, we were in it at the same era. It was in the late 70s, but really the early 80s. This concept called cellular telephone began to come. Some people thought we were nuts, including my father, when I invested in it. But it's transformed our culture, our way of life, our economy, and the way we work every day.
I had a paging company, and we started doing cellular as well, as far as being an agent of Bell South Mobility, or Bell South Cellular, I think, at that time. But a company bought out American Mobile Phone, which we had an office not too far from there. And he said, "What do you think about this the cellular business? Do you think it's going to ever take off?" He said, I think paging is the way to go. It's going to be here forever." I said, "No way, no way." I said, the cellular thing. And at that time, it was $35 per month for 350 minutes. And then you had to pay extra for call waiting, call forwarding, voicemail. Everything was added on. So $35 a month plus all of that. Now, I know our fees our monthly bills are a little bit higher than that now, but you get so much more now than you did back then. And he said, "Oh yeah, I think paging is the way to go." And who do you know who carries a pager anymore?
Yeah, nobody.
The phone is the pager.
Yeah, exactly. So now with the prices, it's so much better.
I think it was 1999. I had a pager as the last I ever saw one.
Well, Gene, tell us about, give us a little bit about your history, your story. What is it that makes you wake up every morning?
Well, I'm glad you opened with the cellular, because that's actually what brought me to Pensacola. I remember looking around in Connecticut and back in the 80s and seeing things deteriorate up north with the way they were living and working and taxing. And I was looking for other windows to jump out of. My trade was the insurance industry. So that's one area I know well. I used to teach the insurance licensing courses up there before. But one of the things I found very interesting was the cellular business that was coming out of the gate. The government, believe it, the government at the time was trying to help the little guy, John Q. and Jane Q. Public, have a opportunity to participate in the big corporate business world. So they opened up this bidding, and ended up being a lottery process for the licenses that were being distributed nationwide for areas, franchise areas, for lack of a better term, throughout the nation. And the long story short is I jumped into a partnership with 20 people, and we applied to the United States government in a lottery. That was the beginning of cellular telephone.
Now, was that the A and B side? See, I have some familiarity with that.
Yeah.
So that was the early...
Well, the earlier days, it was analog as opposed to everything being digital now. But analog at the time created an A side and a B side, the wireline and the non-wireline carrier. The wireline were the Bell Souths of the world, and they were the B side, and the A side was the non-wireline, which is the individuals, you and me, going to the United States government to apply in this lottery for an area. Now, you could lose all your money. There was no guarantee. And so it wasn't an investment. It was a Biloxi, Mississippi
kind of a
gambling
roll of the
risk.
dice,
Yeah. So we applied, and by the grace of God, we applied about 750 times to 750 zones around the nation. And in these lotteries, which occurred over 12 months, we won RSA number 339 in Central California, most everything between Sacramento, San Francisco to the north, all the way down to Los Angeles, the Central Valley, the San Joaquin Valley, and that whole area became our zone, and we became the owners of what was Cellular One at the time. And we built out Cellular One to a full cellular phone company before we sold it.
Okay, yeah, so you did pretty well in that.
Yeah.
So now the FCC even understood the value of those. So instead of a lottery, they went to a bidding system.
Yeah, they realized that their good intentions in trying to make this available for the citizens was being encumbered by the sharks in the tank, the big players that were buying out the little guys anyway. And so they said, well, if you guys are going to sell out to all the big sharks, we might as well just make this available on a bidding basis and let the sharks have at it too. And so what you saw in the digital era, digital PCS, it was called, era of kicked in, replacing the old analog system. And now in those regions, you could have up to 5 or 6 different cellular phone companies. That became too competitive, and what morphed from that was big fish eating little fish, and then you ended up with major carriers, as we know today, like Verizon, Sprint, AT&T.
Well, that created such a fragmented nation of wireless carriers that compared to Europe and Asia, we were very much behind in technology because you had Qualcomm with the CDMA, Code Division Multiple Access, and the Time Division Multiple Access, and the GSM, and it was all fragmented, so it didn't communicate. So we had a lot of holes in our cellular.
And to jump ahead in the technology, just gone public recently was Elon Musk's SpaceX.
Right.
And SpaceX includes a plethora of various smaller technology firms, but one of the magical things about SpaceX and where that's going is that they plan to take this concept of cellular, which you see up and down the intersections around your county. These cellular towers might be just hubs or substations because it's going to ricochet into these satellites that Elon Musk wants in outer space, thousands of them, a geometric number more than they're up there now, to basically do web services, a cellular phone call, housing your website, everything that you consider on a web services platform now, like Amazon Web Services and the others, are going to ricochet up into outer space. Sure enough, Elon Musk has a company called Starlink, which became part of SpaceX, and he, in an earlier version of technology, was trying to do that, but he realized he needs something much more geometric to get these satellite stations underway.
Now, he's genius, by the way. I mean,
absolutely.
He is a visionary
Yep.
that I don't think any of us in this room could even imagine where he's thinking right now. But he has got a lot of the tools, SpaceX and the satellite company and the boring company and the AI and the robots.
Yeah.
They're probably going to be the ones building this infrastructure either on the moon or Mars with these boring companies, because now he can bore through. If he can get the equipment there, he can build a space station.
And while that's going on, he's saving astronauts in outer space. Can you believe that?
Yeah, unbelievable. And, the electric car is just one avenue of his vast holdings. I guess he was the first man to become a trillionaire.
He's the first trillionaire in the world.
But so that brings me to another point. He also started with PayPal, if I recall, and you've had some experience in the payment processing business.
Yeah, that's what helped us get off the ground to afford some of these opportunities. PayPal is, to Elon Musk, what Collector Solutions was to me.
Right.
And we formed a company that was geared more towards a collector's solution, not to be confused with a collection agency, but Collector Solutions was for the tax collectors and the utility companies and the big accounts receivable entities that have massive outgoing billing, was our prospect. Our two largest clients were the state of Illinois and the state of Missouri. And after 10 years in Pensacola, we amassed a few transactions when you were paying your taxes locally. It started here in Escambia County. A few taxes here in Escambia County were coming through our payment engine. We grew it to 350 tax collectors around the nation, 2 states, totaling over $3.7 billion a year in other people's money coming through our payment engine. Not one compromise, not one. We were hacked. We had attempts, but our security system had 5 tiers to it, and they never got past the 2nd tier.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a success story in itself.
Yeah.
So what would you, in the early days, your earlier businesses, what was one of your, what did you learn from those experiences that would be the biggest lesson you would want to convey to our listeners?
Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered.
I've understood that personally from a business partner. Sure do.
You best take care of your friends and family and make sure everyone's inclusive. Oh, there's other bad actors who may take advantage of your good nature, people around you trying to disparage or limit your opportunity. But I'm a faith-based person, and I believe in the best of the people, not the worst in people, and it paid off. What happened was, for example, as we grew our company and merged it in with a publicly traded company called JetPay, I had 27 employees here in Pensacola. They were paid 20 to 30% above the industry going rate, and we did it for a reason. We wanted loyalty and transparency in their work ethic, and it paid off. What happened was when we were merged in with a publicly traded company, I insisted that all of my 27 employees are guaranteed a 5-year income. You can fire them tomorrow if you want, but they're paid for 5 years.
See, and taking care of, I just did a Facebook ad, talks about, fighting for what you believe in. Jesus Christ, our country, our family, our employees, and our customers,
Yep.
our clients. So if you're not willing to fight for those things, you don't need to be in business.
No, that's right.
And so, and maybe not even really be considered, a good person in society. So, so this segment went by so quickly. I haven't even got to even a third of the questions that I have, but you're so interesting. So, and so we're going to go to a break here in just a moment, and we'll come back with Gene Valentino. And so don't go away. Make sure you call your friends and have them listen to this as well. We've got a lot more to come with Business Today, James Thomason.
Running a business isn't easy, and if you want to reach new customers, you've got to get your message out. Hi, I'm Don, and here are some marketing fast facts to help you grow your business. So, do you know which media dominates the marketplace? It's radio. Radio is the #1 mass reach media. 93% of the population listens to radio. Radio reaches more people than TV, Google, Facebook, Twitter, newspaper, or Yellow Pages. Also, radio dominates in the car. Potential customers don't surf the internet, watch TV, or read a newspaper while driving. Radio reaches consumers as they travel to stores to make shopping decisions. No other media can make that claim. And radio has the strongest ROI of any other media. Radio has an average ROI of $10 of incremental sales for every dollar spent. Your dollars work harder with radio. So, where do you start? Call us today and find out how radio can help grow your business.
Promote your business to thousands of potential customers every week. To learn more, call me at 850-433-1141 or go to advertisepensacola.net.
Hey, James, the financial side of my business has become really stressful and overwhelming. I know I'm behind, I know I need help, and I know it's important.
At Accelerated Accounting, we help remove the stress of running a business. We provide bookkeeping, payroll, tax preparation like many other firms, but we also emphasize tax planning to be proactive and help you keep more of your hard-earned money.
I need that. How can I get started?
Give us a call at 850-944-8500 and get on our calendar. We'll be happy to help.
Group areas and party decks are now available for the 2026 Blue Wahoo season, and the top dates are going fast. Whether you're entertaining your best customers, rewarding employees, hosting a party for a church group, team, or club, or just getting together with family and friends, you're in for an unforgettable experience at Blue Wahoo Stadium. Groups have access to exclusive ticket discounts, a video board and public address shout-out, a professional group photo, and a dedicated group sales representative to guide you through the reservation process. To learn more, visit BlueWahoos.com.
This is Little John, and style doesn't come in a one-size-fit-all package. We carry many regular sizes and big and tall, up to a 10X, with custom-made clothing for any size you need. Whether you need a custom suit or perfect fit for your casual look, our expert tailoring and alterations ensures that you look sharp and feel great in everything you wear. Voted Best of Pensacola, Best of the Bay, and Best of the Emerald Coast in 2025. Little John's at 5700 North Davis Highway or littlejohnsbigandtall.com. Your style, your fit, your way.
Welcome back to our show today. We have a really great show with Gene Valentino, former county commissioner of Escambia County. Got so many connections and so many great stories that we've talked about, success stories, where we like to talk to people about being not small business owners, but success-minded business owners. And this is a classic example of being that right person in the right place at the right time. So I wanted to talk with you a little bit more. You're a pilot. You have a seaplane, I guess. You are a dive master. You teach at Pensacola State College as an adjunct professor. Race car. Now, do you race cars or do you own a race car?
No, my friends, when I was a county commissioner, invited me to take their race car and appear in a celebrity race with about 14 different characters or celebrities in the region. And it was at Five Flag Speedway, and we won the race there against sheriffs and everybody else.
Okay, so that's where you, Sheriff Morgan,
But Eddie Mercer, who's very well known and is a professional driver himself, was very much an influence on me in staying in it for a while. So
gotcha.
It was a lot of fun.
Well, let's get back to some of your business experiences. So looking back over your career, what is the single toughest business decision you've ever had to make?
Well, sometimes you're investing, you always think it out and do it based on a spreadsheet of numbers and logic and levels of risk. In certain cases, the biggest issue was just a gut feeling.
Right.
You mentioned it in the previous segment when you talked about cellular. There was no epistemic information. There was no pre-existing data. Going into a cellular investment at the time was distantly but most closely aligned to the cable industry. Cable industry had subscribers, but there was no comparison because cellular was new ground.
Right.
Just like SpaceX for Elon Musk is new ground, or I should say new space. The bottom line is there's thresholds in business where you lack, where the pre-existing information that you're relying on to make a future decision may not be as revealing as it needs to be to make that decision. So what are you relying on? Your gut hunch. You're just one click away from gambling, but
right.
you're taking a hunch based on logic.
And when I had my communications company and we were battling in the pager business and the cellular business, I wanted to be a student of the game, and there weren't very many books on that at that time. But one was The Wireless Nation, or Wireless Nation. It talks about Marconi, how he came up with the way to transmit across not telephone lines, not hard lines, but through the air. And learning that stuff back then was very important. I could talk the talk to people who were not even in my business, but in a business that was higher in elevation to where I was. And I think that creates a knowledge base for making those gut decisions sometimes when you have some of that base. If you just went into a business, you didn't know anything about it, how do you have the gut feeling about that? Sometimes it's just, like you said, a roll of the dice, or hopefully God is looking out for me.
Yeah, some of the experiences in those decisions were based on experiences that aren't specific to that business or industry, but are just human nature.
Right.
And what good logic portends.
So, and you mentioned numbers. You know, sometimes you do make decisions based on numbers, and our CFO, we talk about when we gather KPIs, key performance indicators for our clients to help match what their goals are to create a plan to get to those goals. So it's very important to have numbers and know what your numbers are. Don't ever go into Shark Tank and not know your numbers. They will eat you alive.
That's right.
The best decisions are informed decisions.
That's right.
That's right.
And information is power.
That's right.
So, so how important is it for a company culture when you're trying to build a successful organization? I know you mentioned that the 26 employees, you really fought for them even after or during the sale process.
Oh, yeah. Well, in a positive way, people buy people. People want to be associated with good people, and that goes beyond the lust and the titillation of some of what's out there today. You've got to really look at what's solid, and there's a bedrock of good people around you, and that's what I did in my business. I tried to create good people around me, not always the least expensive purchase or salary. In fact, most of the salaries in my organization were 25 to 35% higher than the industry in the entire panhandle of Florida. I did it for a reason. I wanted to make sure they stayed with me through the growing pains. I wanted it to be more than a job, and it was. People, we worked on a corporate culture where we would set up a budget process that you all had your targets. I don't care if you're on the golf course 4 days a week, but the target is this by May 1st. And if you've hit your target, you got a month to spend, go take a trip for all I care.
Right.
Because I know what the numbers are going to be on May 1st when you report in. But that was the attitude, and that was the culture, and it was also the freedom. And as the owner, as the boss, I didn't have to know everything.
Right.
The trick was, if I had to know it and micromanage you, then I don't need you. I should just stress out and take on your job too.
That's right.
If I'm smart, I'm giving you the rope to make $1 million or to hang yourself. And that's what happens in our environment, and it turned out very well. For the most part, we had very loyal people that stayed with us through the hard days and the successful days. And many of them walked away with more money than they ever expected when we merged with JetPay and went public with NCR.
Well, it sounds like you had people that were working with you instead of for you, and they were buying into your vision.
That's exactly how it has to be treated. Otherwise, you're not giving the rope necessary for people to remain part of a team. This isn't an order-taking environment like the military is, but it is a respect and trust environment. And my approach was always, if I was transparent and gave you a clear understanding of where I wanted to be per quarter, per year, then the consequences of performing or not performing were known by you before I even had to say anything.
Right.
Yeah, I've always believed that you hire talented people, you give them what they need, you help clear the path, and let them run.
There you go.
And let them go. Let them do what they do.
That's right.
If you get the right people,
you got to get the right people
on the right
that
seats.
Trust is so critical. A lot of people, it's hard to work with autonomy like that. It takes a lot of self-discipline to be able to do that. But those individuals with that talent, boy, if you let those thoroughbreds run, they'll do real well.
Do you realize how unique that concept is? Now, today, just jumping ahead, I'm a contributor on Newsmax, Fox Radio, Real America's Voices, and I look around and see the stories coming in from my colleagues and other news stories from around the world. What you just described, Byron, is exactly why America is so unique. There's an old saying, you compete by differentiating. What makes America different from the rest of the world is that we allow innovation, creativity, and through transparency. And for certain people to become millionaires, you don't pinch them, you don't stifle them, you encourage them. Look what Elon Musk just did in that spirit. He had people around him. Instead of trying to tax the hell out of them, which the far left is trying to do to millionaires and billionaires, he turns around to 4,000 people in his core group and instantly makes them millionaires. In the IPO announcement at $135 a share that came out a few weeks ago on SpaceX.
So he is enabling others to be successful.
Why would I be concerned about him being a trillionaire? AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez,
Oh, man. What a joke.
The wingnut.
Yeah.
She turns around and wants to. There shouldn't be any trillionaires, she said. There shouldn't be any billionaires. Oh, really?
Hold on. You could have a room of 1,000 people and who are working and pay from paycheck to paycheck, and you would say, okay, one of you guys is going to be the CEO and you're going to make $1 million. Who wants that job? I guarantee you everybody should have their hand up.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Because they would not turn it down themselves, but for somebody else, they're jealous or whatever the case may be. And Pocahontas has been on the air about taxing these billionaires. And it's like, these billionaires have the opportunity. They could move in a minute and you lose all that revenue for your state. Why in the world would you ever do that? Now, I realize that poor people don't pay taxes and rich people don't pay taxes because they're, Donald Trump didn't pay income tax because that's the law, that's the rule, that's the Internal Revenue Code section that these senators and Congress people put into play. But he did pay property taxes, employment taxes, and others that they failed to point out. He is contributing to this economy when he was an entrepreneur as well. And entrepreneurs are the backbone of this country.
And how many thousands of people are employed by him? Personal side, not government,
right?
That are paying taxes. Elon Musk, not just those 4,000 millionaires. How many, the ripple effect, how many more beyond that are paying taxes?
Yeah.
You give one person the cherry to make $1 million to spend. No one talks about it, but when we had those 27 employees in Pensacola working, we were paying over $3.5 million a year in state and local taxes. What's the impact? What's the impact to an economy? It's called the ripple effect. And the people who complain about Trump's billions or Elon Musk's trillions are people who are incompetent, incapable, and at the very least stupid, for not understanding what the ripple effect is in an economy.
The economy is the multiple of how many times that dollar is turned over.
Yeah, and what I said in the beginning, that's what the rest of the world doesn't understand.
Right.
They don't encourage the little guy to step up and make his opportunity come to fruition. He doesn't have to make millions, but that may not have been his goal. His goal might have been just a successful local entrepreneur with a business shop in town. Nothing wrong with that. That's the bedrock of our economy.
I want to support every kid that opens their lemonade stand.
Yeah.
I want to help them become the next Elon Musk. I want to support the kid that takes the lawnmower out to cut the grass. I want to encourage them. I want to encourage our listeners to grow, to start a business if that's your desire. If that's what your goal is, start a business and become successful at it. And don't let these politicians hinder you by saying we need more taxes, not less taxes.
Yeah, it's what we talk about all the time. We mentioned at the beginning of the show. We're passionate about other entrepreneurs. And if Elon can do it, if this person can do it, then I can too. And it's inspiring others. That's why we do this show, is to encourage, educate, and a little bit entertain.
We do try to entertain from time to time.
Success-minded entrepreneurs. Yeah. And if I don't see the ability to do that, then how many of us out there are going to be striving to go get there? Then they're going to be gone. It doesn't make any sense. I think it's so critical. I talk to person after person after person. We talk about the motivations, what they've learned, and it almost always reverts back to someone they've learned from, a mentor they've had, a situation they've seen, someone that did something they just thought, wow, I can do that too.
Matter of fact, in this, what would you encourage a young entrepreneur to do as far as teaching them one lesson? What would you kind of encourage them to do from a standpoint of an entrepreneur who's been there with multiple businesses?
Be cognizant that your goals in life are geared towards hard work, not a time clock or an expectation. Rely on no one else but your own self-motivation and your self-energy. No one gave me anything. Everything I made in my life was done through my own hard work. If I had come away with an attitude of sitting on a couch because it's convenient to do so, especially during COVID, or expect mommy and daddy or a state and federal government to step up and fund motivate me not to work and motivate me to stay on the couch, then I've failed. The interest is to set your aspirations, develop your own sense of cognition and self-worth, That means you don't get it given to you. You earn it from your own initiative. And that means go walk around and talk to other people as a starter and find out what they're doing in their lives. Go back to your teachers and your guidance counselors and tell them to stop worrying about controlling your gender identity and work more toward giving you a vision or direction about where you can be and what you could contribute to society to do. Work more about being productive. The gross national product is based on productivity for a reason. And that's what we need to do, is focus on productivity. If the nation and the world around us is productive and I'm productive, then wealth will fall my way without even trying.
So it was Kennedy who said, President Kennedy who said, and this may be kind of paraphrased, but ask not what the government can do for you, but what you can do for this country. And that's how I take it, because people are relying on government now to support them. They're becoming wards of the state, where churches used to take care of people, but now they're in such a position that they can't operate the way they normally did, and the government's taking care of people, and more people are on the government dime.
Yeah.
And the Democrats of that era, you mentioned John F. Kennedy, also include Tip O'Neill, good friends of Ronald Reagan.
Oh, Ronald Reagan, my hero.
And mine too. But many Democrats in that era were productive-based and performance-based. They were not handout, give it to me for free based. And that's where we're unfortunately twisted to.
Government should encourage the people who want to become billionaires, not discourage them. And with that, we're up against another break.
Oh.
And man, I tell you what, time is flying. Listeners, come back. We've got a lot more great stuff with Gene Valentino. We'll be right back.
Relationships matter because people buy people. And that's why I buy Eddie Zarin Insurance of the Zarin Insurance Agency in Pensacola, Florida. A family-owned business with over 50 years in the business, and they treat people the right way. From homeowners insurance to contractors insurance, condo insurance, commercial insurance, all the different coverages that are out there, and of course auto insurance, they've got you covered. They worry about you first. You're more than a policy number. You're a person who they're watching out for, not when the sun is shining, but after the hurricane has left. If you want real service with real savings, contact Eddie Zarin at the Eddie Zarin Insurance Agency. www.zarininsurance.com. Give them a call today. You'll be glad you did when you do.
Any more time to get back into the conversation with Gene Valentino, former county commissioner. And we did want to touch on something. Now, you are a contributor on Fox Radio, Newsmax, and RAV?
RAV, Real America's Voice.
Okay.
One of the many conservative streaming services out there.
How did you get involved with that?
Well, it was the genesis of a few opportunities. Senator Rick Scott, when I was county commissioner, was very much involved. He was governor at the time, of course, and he was very helpful to Escambia County. We became good friends, and he introduced me to Chris Ruddy over at Newsmax. Chris Ruddy is the CEO and founder of Newsmax. We hit it off. He brought me on as a contributor. So I started contributing on Newsmax. It expanded to Fox News Radio and RAV, Real America's Voice. There's a few others we've done things for globally. Group out of India, the Salem Broadcast Network, OAN, and a few others.
Okay.
But our platforms, conservative platforms, and they bring me on for 2 minutes or 20 minutes, and we talk about I compliment whatever the story is du jour,
Right. And so you also have the Grassroots Truthcast. Tell us about that.
What spun off was I started interviewing some of the folks, including Chris Ruddy, Senator Rick Scott, and others, and they came on my podcast called the Grassroots Truthcast. My plug, if I may, for the segment is to just let folks know they can go to www.grassrootstruthcast, all one word, .com, and subscribe, and we push out for free our weekly episodes. They're in 3 general categories: the television broadcast stuff, which we do on a Zoom basis or in studio. We'll do it Zoom right here from Pensacola, or I'm in the studios in Boca Raton or New York City a few times per year. We do the same with Real America's Voice, which is in West Palm Beach. And we provide content for the host that's, conducting the show just like you are.
Right, and we're having a good time. Do they have as good of a time as we have?
I
or
would
is it
say
more of a business?
I would say you're more relaxed and comfortable with the show.
Okay.
They're in the network environment. They're stressed out down to the second.
Okay.
And they're trying to get things out in shorter order.
So when can they see you on Fox?
Well, it
Radio
varies. The 2 biggies right now are Newsmax and Real America's Voice. In fact, tomorrow morning after our radio show, we're going to be on Real America's Voice at 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central tomorrow morning on Fridays, and we end up being available for any of the networks throughout the week. Usually they're looking for me for a political commentary. Right now the hot issues are Iran and the pending U.S. military action going on in Iran. We're looking at the Congress and midterm elections now that Plattner has just resigned.
Yeah, that's
real disgraceful.
Yeah.
And, there's the ripple effect of the America's 250th anniversary. July 4th came and went, but the fact of the matter is we're celebrating through 2026, and that'll be very important. And you'll see many milestones reached, and I think one of them is going to be the midterm elections because of Democrat stunts that are being pulled in election rigging, and some of the characters that are coming out of the Democrat Party, even the likes of Chuck Schumer, Bernie Sanders, Hakeem Jeffries, and I could name 6 more that have gotten behind the likes of Graham Plattner and others. These far left, radical left individuals within the Democratic Party have created a crisis which we've predicted 4 years ago was going to happen, and it happened. And you can't blame Donald Trump for it.
Wait a minute. Now he gets blamed for everything.
He gets blamed for everything, but this has been a self-inflicted wound on the Democrat Party, which has now revealed itself. I see and predicted 3 years ago. It's happening now, gentlemen. The complete meltdown of the Democrat Party and a transformation which will guarantee a strong Republican base in the United States Congress in these midterm elections. And what that does in the limited time we have, just to jump ahead, is the real issue I think is going to be pervasive for the next 2 years is constitutional amendments coming forward that will once and for all address the what an American citizen is, how you become an American citizen, citizenship in general. I consider that the 27th Amendment to the Constitution. I consider term limits for U.S. congressmen becoming an issue. Now, ironically, fast backwards was when I was county commissioner, 2006 to 2014. I wasn't too hot on term limits. Because I knew the job. Yeah. I knew it all, right? I mean, I knew it all, and I think I had the answers for everything. I see the benefit of term limits to prevent the maligning that's going on within the Democrat, and they're not alone. There's certain aspects of the Republican Party that need term limits. God bless Mitch McConnell's soul and his wellness right now, but he should have been gone sooner.
Right. Now, it's kind of like asking the coyote or the hound to come out of the hen house on their own accord, though.
That's correct.
The incentive is not to leave. because you're making so much money and so much power. And these guys evidently have a lot of information to buy stocks and short stocks and things like that to build their wealth. But the Democrats are so out of touch with reality. And if you're not voting for people to have to show their driver's license or an identification to vote on the leaders of this country, you're going to get a lot of people just voting for people who don't deserve to be there.
To go into Barack Obama's museum or library, you need a photo ID and license.
That's right.
What the heck are we talking about?
Try to go to Sam's Club without some
That's
form of
exactly
identification.
correct.
You'll be arrested.
Almost
for
anything that you do of any importance at all, you have to show your identification. I mean, voting is a very basic right of us as citizens to elect the people the citizens want. And so if you're not a legal citizen of this country, you don't have the best
So I asked the question, if you're going to fight me on that issue, what are you hiding?
Exactly. Yeah.
And what is the Democrat Party hiding to go in the contrary direction with such a passion? What is it that's been up their sleeve? Guys, I want to mention this. Check it out. George Walter is his name. He wrote a book entitled Arabella. $3.2 billion were raised last year, more than the Republican and Democrat Party combined, to fund through NGOs, non-government organizations, Democrat, liberal, left people, including this most recent Graham Plattner or whatever it is.
Yeah.
He's just one example. Multiply that by about 20 blue state regions in the nation right now that are promoting a far less extremist, socialistic, it's really communistic. Donald Trump talks about it. We are on the verge of being eaten from within by the George Soros mentality, a communist-based mentality. We must look at who's moving in down your neighborhood and mine,
yes,
and stop them from infiltrating this cancer from within. It's not about Iran or Ukraine or Gaza Strip, Israel.
Or Venezuela.
Or Venezuela. Trump's doing a great job putting those fires out, trying to bring organization. But the real threat is the Democrat Party's
from within this country. Yep.
In this nation.
So we need to defend this country from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And we have some domestic enemies in this country.
Goosebumps,
which means each of us is responsible to participate in government and to take their role. It's not just me running for county commissioner. I did my part. Now I say to everyone in earshot who's listening to us, what are you going to do to help protect your nation?
But not only that, don't vote based on what you hear in the media. Do your own research and find out what they believe in, that person. In other words, if you believe in Christian values, vote for the person who has Christian values. If you believe in a business, successful businesses being able to operate, vote for that person that's for that. Don't just pick a name because you like the way it sounds. That is get educated in your business. Get educated in this country who are leading you into where we're going. We're going somewhere, and people. Politicians have a difficult job because they have to be a leader, but also a public servant. How do you lead and serve at the same time? You got to pick the right person. Figure it out. Educate yourself. Don't just pick someone because you like their name or because they have a D beside their name or an R. Pick the right person, and we will be successful in this country.
Yeah.
Amen.
Let me connect this conversation to the entrepreneurs out here. The entrepreneurs out there doing it. We got a lot of volatility going on, and more than most people probably realize. We're talking about success-minded entrepreneurs and going after opportunities. We got a lot of volatility. How would you advise people? Do they just keep going unaffected by what's going on? Are we going to get conservative about pursuing opportunities? What would you say to these business leaders and entrepreneurs out there that are trying to get something going?
Well, volatility as compared to what, right? This is the best nation in the world for bringing forward your your idea and turning rags into riches. So there's always volatility at everything, including walking out of the studio and getting into your car, right?
Right.
We've got risk everywhere. The question is mitigating the risk and managing what your opportunity is. That means doing your homework to make sure that you minimize the volatility when you get started. But it's that volatility that is able to be managed better than anywhere else. You've got some great ideas in foreign nations that can't get off the ground because of government intervention. A 65% tax rate in certain socialistic nations around the nation leave you with very little money in your back pocket to invest in anything. So you, by default, acquiesce, you give in, you kind of throw in the towel and, well, let government take care of me then. And that's no way of improving productivity. In fact, the opposite's true. You're becoming, what socialistic nation is doing well? You got Spain that can't even contribute to NATO right now. Trump's mad about it. The rest of this nation should be. We're paying for Spain's inability to take care of itself in an environment across the ocean that we're not directly involved in. Trump says what the United States feels. Let's get the hell out of here and go back to worrying about our own people back in the United States. Bring gas prices down, fuel, oil and food prices down. Well, he's doing that anyways. Crude oil is now under $70 a barrel, but the mechanisms of the oil emirates and the different cluster groups still keep our oil prices a little higher. Once we get to that $60 crude oil barrel, we'll begin to see a ripple effect occur at the gas pumps. I talk about it in our classes, my entrepreneurial classes at Pensacola State College. I talk about it as the slinky effect. The slinky comes off the step and drops down to the next step, but the back of the slinky hasn't caught up yet. But it will. It'll not only catch up, but it'll flop over and go down to the next step beyond. So the nation, through the heat of the summer and fall, will see gas prices back down. I predict under $2 a gallon.
But even if it's $5 a gallon, if you travel to other nations around this world, they're paying more. They're paying $8 a gallon, or anywhere from $5 to $8 a gallon, because they're paying per liter. We don't realize how good we have it. Now, my mother wanted me to take her car. My 90-year-old mother wanted me to take her car because a new gas station opened up. They had a rate that was a little bit lower, $3.05 a gallon. And she said, "Oh, can you go fill up my car?" I saved her $1.25. And it's like, okay, I do it for her. I would do whatever I needed to for her. But if we take it and look at it in real dollars, how much is that for the average person per week? $10 a week? Okay. If we can't make up $10 a week, guys, we have a serious problem. Mm-hmm. Other countries are not where we are. We are not bad off. We're really good off. Now, if we'd all get on the same page and get government out of our life, President Reagan said it best. Some of the most feared words in America are, "We're with the government, we're here to help."
Yeah,
watch out for that.
Yeah.
It's not fuel prices that are getting us. I've got 3 teenagers and a boyfriend that's basically 4 teenagers. It's the food prices. It's the general increase.
Now the fuel prices do contribute to, because everything's delivered by truck. But and look, we're spoiled. I'll have to tell you, we are spoiled. I'm a conservative, and matter of fact, I'm having lunch with Congressman Jerry Carl. He was former congressman now in Alabama, and he's gonna get the next. He's gonna get it again because of the way they shifted the
realignment.
Realignment, and that was great. Yeah. So I love the conservative values that we have in this country. I wish we would all embrace a lot more of that. But so here's a couple of things. I want to talk. You have a book coming out. You're working on a book. And so. And the name of that book?
20 Walks of Life. Okay. I was referring to the 20 shareholders in my phone company. That was individuals starting a company. It wasn't. Right.
We really like being students of our game, so we encourage our entrepreneurs to read or listen to The Entrepreneurial Myth by Michael E. Gerber.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sorry, the E-Myth. revisited. We're listening to right now, myself and my operations manager. Traction is a great book, but do we have time for the top
we got
five?
time.
Let's do it. Let's do the top five.
Absolutely. So, top 5 reasons to follow Gene Valentino and all the amazing things he has going on. Get my drum roll turned on here. Number 1 reason to follow Gene Valentino: conservative perspective.
Yes.
No insanity here.
That's for sure.
Business experience, very successful, which means he can think from a lot of different angles and count for a lot of perspective. Focuses on current events. What's the real practical impact of what's going on today? Constitutional discussions. We had a little bit here today. The foundation of our country. And he has a very interesting interview format of being interviewed and having folks on with a lot of discussion, interesting stuff. Follow Gene Valentino if you don't already.
Great top 5. And Gene, I apologize. We didn't get to all the things we wanted to talk about. We'd like to have you on again if you're good for that.
Oh, thank you.
So we have enjoyed this tremendously. The time just flies by when you're having fun. And I love your perspective, and I'd like to talk with you more about it. And we'll book you for another show if that's good.
Be honored. Not giving up on this great concept.
Oh,
called...
and one thing, so I do have a co-authored book with Brian Tracy and Michael E. Gerber, by the way, and this tells about my story, my contribution as a co-authored book. It's a gift to you today. I'll sign it for you. And I highly encourage you to continue to be a successful business owner and individual.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Relationships matter because people buy people, and that's why I buy Eddie Zarin Insurance of the Zarin Insurance Agency in Pensacola, Florida. A family-owned business with over 50 years in the business, and they treat people the right way. From homeowners insurance to contractors insurance, condo insurance, commercial insurance, all the different coverages that are out there, and of course auto insurance, they've got you covered. They worry about you first. You're more than a policy number. You're a person who they're watching out for, not when the sun is shining, but after the hurricane has left. If you want real service with real savings, contact Eddie Zarin at the Eddie Zarin Insurance Agency. www.zarininsurance.com. Give them a call today. You'll be glad you did when you do.